Hey guys, I'm back with another video. The previous video that you hopefully saw of me was my Jurassic World Rebirth review. It was the supposed blockbuster of the summer. As you know, hopefully, it was not the case as I got to see it early and I got to lament my feelings about the film. It was a disappointment, it was a cash grab, and it was nothing more or less than that. However, this week, we got the predecessor to Top Gun Maverick, F1 the movie. Joesph Kosinski. Is he Mr. Blockbuster? Is he? It's a legitimate question after watching this film because he has two of the best summer blockbusters of the 2020s. One is responsible for bringing back cinema, putting asses in seats again. The second is F1 the movie, which just came out and is maybe the greatest racing film I've ever seen in my life. And at the helm of this picture is probably the coolest actor of at least the 21st century in Brad Pitt. My God, is this an extraordinary spectacle? It is grand in every way. It is some of the most innovative and realistic filmmaking we'll ever see in a sports film. And not only is it realistic, and it shows all of the hardships of racing in the best way I've ever seen, but my God, is it truly immersive, not only in the world of characters and of character building and of building, it is immersive in the world of fulfillment, in the world of entertainment. There really is only two films that I think are better than this film this year and more entertaining in my opinion, but those are arguably two of the best films of the decade, or at least the half decade of the 2020s. And I think this film has a say in that now, in my opinion. I think this is one of the best films of the 2020s. I don't know where it would rank on this list. Maybe we do a video of that in the future. But I think it's one of the best films of the 2020s. And I think a lot of roles play into that. Now, I want to get the negatives out the way and the criticisms I've been seeing online about this film, because I think that's kind of important before I go on to the positives. I've already kind of alluded to the positives, but the negatives I've been seeing about this film is, Brad Pitt handed in his check for this film, went to the bank, cashed in. He's sober now, so he didn't have any drinks, but he just chilled out and just played himself. Disagree. 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 This is his best performance since Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Let me say that again. This is his best performance since Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And that's an iconic character in Cliff Booth. This is not a better performance, but it is his best performance since Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. People loved Bullet Train. I did not. I just did not. When I saw it in theaters and when I saw it at home, I did not like it. I thought Brad Pitt stunk. I thought he was playing himself. Wolves, George Clooney, bland film, playing himself. This, of course, there's elements of Brad Pitt because there's too much aura, which I hate to use, and too much swag, which I hate to use, and too much presence within himself as a human being not to include in this role. But the rest of the character that he portrays is a layered and tendered performance that we haven't seen from him since Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like, he actually is giving something to this film other than just the cool and incredibly charismatic and endearing person that he seemingly is in Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt, the coolest fucking actor we have at his age. In his almost twilight years of his career, he is still the coolest fucking guy in cinema, and no one is like him. Leonardo DiCaprio, great actor. There's a plethora of great actors in the world of cinema today. None of them are Brad Pitt, especially when he's on his A game. Very few actors can compete or beat Brad Pitt on his A game. It's just hard to do. And just the grand schemes of cinema throughout time, there are very few actors that have the same type of cinematic presence that he has. The only few I can really think of in terms of coolness and believability in the roles that they play are really like Harrison Ford, Steve McQueen, and Paul Newman, Redford, a couple other actors, but really they all are on the same par as each other. So, like, Brad Pitt, that's the moral of the story. People who are saying he doesn't give a good performance in this film are insane to me, but that's the beauty of cinema. the difference in opinions, difference in how you consume and appreciate art. That's one of the greatest things about cinema. So to me, Brad Pitt gives his best performance since Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and to others, he's just playing Brad Pitt, which is crazy to me, but okay, that's fine. Another nitpick to this film that I personally have, and I think others might have, is the use of new original songs, because Hans Zimmer is the composer of this film. The score that he composes of for this film are incredible. From start to finish, all the Hans Zimmer scores you hear are incredible. However, there's a sequence or two in this film that include Don Toliver music or Doja Cat music, I forget, or Ed Sheeran music, and it just takes me away from the beauty of Hans Zimmer's score that was attached to this film before and after. That's a slight nitpick because those sequences aren't long and they aren't bad like sequences to consume visually, but when I'm listening to Don Toliver in an F1 movie, I kind of get turned off. And I don't really love music in today's age because a lot of it seems just non-unique and non-immersive to me, and I think that's just a little bit of a flaw. So, yeah, that's one of my nitpicks for the film. Another nitpick I've been seeing, which I don't agree with because of the two actors that we get to see in this subplot, is the romantic aspect of the story. A lot of people are like, oh, the romantic aspect of this story seems shoehorned in. They don't seem to have too much chemistry. I disagree. Carrie Condon, a fantastic actress, one of the best actresses we have working today, is great. And to see her on screen working with Brad Pitt, one of the great actors we will ever get, is great to see. The chemistry they have together is great. And you can feel the chemistry, you can feel the gravitational pull that Condon has towards Brad Pitt's character in Sonny Hayes, and you can feel the gravitational pull that Sonny Hayes has towards Carrie Condon's character, and that's a really good part of the film because the rest of the film is just a clash of egos between Damson Idris's character and Sonny Hayes, Brad Pitt's character, and that's great to watch. And the race sequences are great to watch. The crash sequences are great to watch. The filmmaking is great to watch. But this film needed a little bit of tenderness and a soul to it, besides the clash of egos and the racing sequences. And Carrie Condon and Brad Pitt's relationship pays off. Whether it was the poker scene in this film, I won't give too much away spoiler-wise because I want you guys to see the movie, or whether it was when they first meet and Brad Pitt is working up the most polite and non-offensive way to hit on her and ask her out, and or whether it's the ultimate payoff between the two. It is great to watch for me, and it wasn't a distraction from the real plot of the movie, which was Sonny Hayes, has-been, legend, never was, depends on who you're talking to in this universe, is a washed-up race car driver. He was F1, one of the most promising F1 race car drivers to start his young career, but it abruptly ended after getting in a serious crash due to his ambitious and reckless driving capabilities that brought him to prowess. And now Javier Bardem's character owns a F1 team, and he calls upon his old friend Sonny Hayes to come help the F1 team and help mentor Damson Idris's character. By the way, Damson Idris, I'm gonna get this out the way. Damson Idris, I have never seen Snowfall. I've seen clips of him acting on Instagram and social media apps alike, and I was impressed, but I've never seen him in a feature-length film before. Now, that's due to me, but also I was excited to see what he has to bring to the table besides shows. So, when I get to watch him go head-to-head against one of the most powerful cinematic presences ever get, it is truly special to watch, and I think he does a really great job in butting heads with the great ego of Sonny Hayes. And I think the ego he displays is just as great because he is a character you're going to hate at first. He is a character you're going to be rooting against at first. But eventually, as the film goes on, he improves as a character, and you start to root for him. So I think what he does, butting heads with Brad Pitt, Sonny Hayes, is great. And I think he brings a great element to this film to combat with Brad Pitt's. And it's really good. And listen, another like critical part of this film that I've been seeing a lot is like, oh, it's not a unique plot, it's a generic plot. Yeah, it is a generic plot in the grand scheme of things. We have seen the old washed up vet come in to save the team and help mentor the rookie who thinks his shit doesn't stink. However, the way it's executed, not only in performance and in filmmaking, it is a great execution of it all. So, yeah, it's a generic plot and it's a plot that we have seen before. It's not necessarily unique. The way it is executed and pulled off is really effective. Sometimes the greatest things about film is the simplicity of it all. When a film gets simple right, that is a great achievement. And I think what they do in making the simpleness of this film seem refreshing and great is a huge compliment not only to performers in this film but also the extraordinary filmmaking of Kosinski. Kosinski follows up Top Gun Maverick with a better picture. Let me say that again. I wish I could rewind and be a better editor, but let me say that again. Kosinski follows up Top Gun Maverick, a now infamous film in the grand scheme of cinema. He follows up with a better picture, in my opinion. This film excels on every level. It executes on all the highest levels you can imagine, and is truly a grand spectacle. This is a motion picture. This is an epic to me. The way I felt in this theater is a feeling I get when I see a great summer blockbuster, which I haven't seen since Oppenheimer, and I haven't seen before then since Top Gun Maverick. Oppenheimer is the better picture out of the two, but if it wasn't for Oppenheimer, these are the two best summer blockbusters of the 2020s, and I don't see anything after in the works that would be better than this. But that's the great thing about future. You don't know what's to come. So, I mean, there's a lot to talk about here, and there's a lot to really love. And I feel like I've gotten that all out the way, and I really could not suggest more to go see this in theaters. This is a film that you don't want to wait until it's on TV. Why would you wait until it's on TV? The way this film fulfills you and the way it gets you hooked into the story and hooked into the visual thing of this film is truly special, and it's one of the most special films of the year. I think it's a top 3 film of the year, and I think potentially it's one of the greatest films of the 2020s. And in the 2020s, that's really caught fire these past 3 years. I mean, think of all the pictures and films we've got in the past 3 years, and I think this is one of the best films of the 2020s, and I couldn't be more happy. It excels in filmmaking, it excels in performance, and it excels in entertainment, and it excels in intrigue and curiosity. The reverberating sense of sensation I got palpitating through my skin and through my mind while watching this film is truly a feeling I will always cherish as someone who loves going to the movies, loves going to the theaters, and would not want to do anything else in the world. So if you feel the same way I do, go see this film. It's a 5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. If I had to rate it out of 100, I'd probably go like a 95 or a 98 out of 100. This is a film that if I go see it again, it will not get lowered, in my opinion. I don't see how this film can make me run away with a negative opinion after I see it on a second watch. If anything, I think it can get better. Let me say that again. I think if I watch this film, I can raise the score of this film out of 100, which is phenomenal and spectacular. Because if I go see this in IMAX like I want to, instead of the regular formatting, I think I might shit my pants. Because I almost shit my pants watching it in regular formatting. IMAX with this film is going to be extraordinary, and I think that's an experience everyone's going to want to experience this year. So if you're sitting at home and you love film, but you don't go to the movies a lot, go see it. If you're someone who is a casual film fan and is like, you know what film should I go see in theaters this year for my once or two times that I'll go, this is one of the once or the two times you go. Go see this in theaters. It'll be worth it. Brad Pitt, cool as ever. Cool as the other side of the pillow. Kosinski, one of the greatest summer blockbuster directors we have in this age, and the rest of the cast proves their worth and holds their own in the grand scheme of things that we are given. Go see this. 5 out of 5 on Letterboxd, 95 out of 100 in the grand scheme of things. The next video you see of me will either be a review of one of the greatest films of all time, The Apartment, because I have nothing in the theaters I want to go see this upcoming week, or I will fall into the generic content creator on YouTube and do a top 10s list, which I am excited about. Don't know what top 10 I will do, but I will do it, okay? Because I want to build a community here. I am Matt. I had a great time at the cinema yesterday. Let me know if you saw it. Let me know if you like it. Let me know if I'm a fucking moron for loving this film as much as I do. Alright? Have a good night. Go see this in theaters, please.